leading the charge for SARC and making sure that we fulfill that mission we set out 2 decades ago to support individuals with autism and their families is our visionary and dynamic president and CEO. And it's my pleasure to welcome to the stage Dr. Danny Openden.
If you're a parent of a child with autism living in Metro Phoenix, then chances are you've spoken to Pilar. For more than 6 years, Pilar has handled intake, registration, and enrollment for SARC programs. Pilar is bilingual, allowing her to also provide support for our monolingual Spanish-speaking families. With very few exceptions, no other SARC team member has spoken to as many parents of children with autism than Pilar. Then last summer, Pilar became a parent of a child with autism. And Pilar had planned to enroll her son, Jeremy, in SARC's community school as a typically developing student at 18 months of age. Pilar's desk faces a window, and out of that window it looks out onto SARC's playground where she dreamed of watching Jeremy play with his friends. But for the first time in our history, SARC diagnosed the child of one of our employees. At 1 in 68, we are increasingly more connected to autism because there are more children, adolescents, and adults who have autism. Just last week, for instance, we learned that Jordan Spieth not only won the Masters, but also became the second youngest winner in Masters history, tied the record score of 18 under par, set a new record for number of birdies, and has a 14-year-old sister with autism. More than any other time in my career, family, friends, and colleagues of mine who have never been touched by autism before have contacted me with concerns about their children, including 2 that we've diagnosed just in the last few weeks. Each of them is looking for 2 things: help and hope. This year, SARC turns 18, and like many of the families we serve, is making the transition to adulthood. Since 1997, we've developed and provided innovative research and programs and have been learning and growing along the way. And now it's time for SARC to take the next step, to figure out who we want to be when we grow up and how we will face the challenges of today and tomorrow. For instance, the current prevalence rate of 1 in 68 is based on data from 2010, and the numbers have been trending upward for more than 20 years. Further, these data are based on diagnosed children. But what about the adolescents and adults we are only now diagnosing, who previously had been mis- or undiagnosed? 500,000 children will become adults with autism this decade. 84% of adults with autism still live at home with their parents, and nearly half of 25-year-olds with autism have never held a paying job. While SARC leads the way in demonstrating that individuals with autism can thrive in an inclusive community, here is the major problem facing us today. There are not enough highly trained individuals to meet the needs of the growing numbers of individuals with autism. Now, the answer seems obvious. Just scale your programs. But scaling autism services is challenging for at least 3 reasons. First, research suggests that it takes 20 to 40 hours per week per individual in low teacher-to-student ratios, often 1-to-1, to produce meaningful outcomes. Meaning that if you have 40 therapists, you may only be able to help 40 kids. Second, treatments that produce the best outcomes are highly individualized because autism is a spectrum, meaning that the individual differences across this population vary considerably. Finally, maintaining quality. We will not sacrifice quality, even in the interest of helping more people, because quality is so unbelievably important to the families we serve. Anything less than our absolute best is unimaginable to us. The solution, then, is to leverage SARC's innovative research and programs by building a network of collaborators and partners that are committed to broad social change and impact. Here are 4 steps that SARC is taking along those lines and the path we are charting for our future. First, research. SARC's database now includes 4,000 individuals with autism, a tremendous asset that can be leveraged to attract new partnerships with investigators, universities, and hospitals. Attracting such partners will better position us to advance discoveries and disseminate knowledge about the causes and identification of and treatments for autism. In addition to our collaboration with UC San Diego to do early screening for autism, we have research partnerships with ASU, the Mayo Clinic, and most recently, Barrow Neurological Institute to study the aging process in adults with autism using fMRI technology. Last year, our outstanding research team published 3 original studies using original SARC data, including the validation of our Asperger's screening tool. Second, infant intervention. The future of early intervention is infant intervention, where studies are now documenting underlying changes in brain development and activity. This year, SARC sent 2 of our most talented therapists to the Mind Institute, who's accomplishing some of the best results in this space, to learn an infant intervention that will be implemented later this year as part of SARC's Developing Milestones program. Once developed, Milestones may not only produce extraordinary outcomes, but may even prevent some cases of autism. Third, we will share our expertise with other autism providers. There is not a more committed, talented group of therapists in the world than the clinical team at SARC. They are teaching nonverbal children to talk, building social skills that create friendships, supporting students with autism in mainstream classrooms, and demonstrating that the 90% un- or underemployment rate among adults with autism can and will be changed. While we continue to build out our team, though, we must also recognize that we cannot meet the needs of the growing autism population on our own. Therefore, SARC is invested in training to help others do what we do best, implement evidence-based practices and state-of-the-art programs that improve quality of life for individuals with autism and their families. Some efforts are already seeing nice returns. We have 5 model classrooms that continue to operate statewide in Hawaii. Earlier this year, Michigan State University came and saw SARC, and later they'll be opening an early childhood program that integrates children with autism with typical kids, much like our preschool. And perhaps most exciting, thanks to our friends at the Seneve Family Foundation and Autism Speaks Canada, many of whom are here this morning, Autism Community Works, our pre-employment program for teens, will be expanded nationwide in Canada. In February, we began training the first of 7 centers to implement Community Works, which will impact 1,200 teens over the next 4 years. Jumpstart, SARC's flagship early intervention program that provides education, training, and support for families who have just received the diagnosis, currently has a 6-month wait list. But imagine if Jumpstart were available at SARC and 10 other autism locations in the Valley that we trained. Consider partnerships with local school districts to replicate the community school, maximizing the potential of early intervention while reducing special education costs for districts once students transition to kindergarten. And finally, we will share our expertise to build a more inclusive community. Let's add to the partnerships you just heard about and build capacity for businesses, schools, sports leagues, cultural institutions, employers, and other nonprofits to provide the supports that individuals with autism need to successfully navigate this community. Think about a preschool franchise that adopts the community school model, educating thousands of young children with and without autism more effectively. Perhaps the supports that we develop in our Beneficial Beans cafes can be packaged and then rolled out to coffee franchises, increasing employment opportunities for adults. And envision a large after-school program that SARC clinicians train to integrate children and teens with autism, improving social skills for all kids. This is where we need your help. Where do you work? What school do your kids go to? Which health club do you belong to? Who do you know that owns or operates a business? And what doors can you open to help us build a truly inclusive community? One of the hardest things about hearing your child has autism is the uncertainty it creates for parents of children about their child's future. Even more heartbreaking is knowing the benefits of early intervention and hearing you're on a wait list. Dreams that parents have for their children, even simple ones like watching them out on the playground with their friends, can seem shattered. SARC's programs for children, adolescents, and adults are providing hope to the families we serve, but we need your support to extend SARC's network, reach, and impact. Now, as for Jeremy, he is enrolled in SARC's community school, and thanks to our outstanding team, is thriving. And as for dreams, here's the view from Pilar's window today. Thank you very much. I'd like to take a brief minute to recognize the exceptional staff in every department at SARC. It is truly my honor and privilege to lead every single one of them, this committed, passionate, committed team. Thank you very much for all that you do.